After years of campaigning, the East Side Gallery, the famous stretch of the Berlin Wall that's covered in artwork, will be preserved. It had been threatened with demolition to make way for luxury apartments. The decision comes amid an ongoing controversy about famous landmarks in the German capital not being adequately protected. Well, let's go straight to the East Side Gallery and to Jessica Solz, who's with us there in Berlin. Good morning, Jessica. Just tell us a little bit more about this historic landmark that we see behind you.
Well, Bal, I'm standing next to probably one of the most famous images associated with the Berlin Wall, the kiss, as it is called, between former Soviet Union leader Leonid Brezhnev and his GDR counterpart Erich Honecker, immortalizing a moment there of Cold War history. This was painted by Dmitry Vrubel, a young Russian artist, in 1990, just one of the over 100 artists who came to Berlin from around the world soon after German reunification and painted murals across this 1.3-kilometer stretch of the Berlin Wall that remains through the center of the city. But despite its popularity, over 3 million tourists visit this spot a year, it is only as of yesterday that is now going to be an officially legally protected historical monument. This was announced on Wednesday by the Berlin Wall Foundation, who will be overseeing it, meaning that this very historically important part of the Berlin Wall will now get regular maintenance, which is much needed. But also critically, we got an 100% guarantee yesterday from the head of the foundation that no more chunks of this wall of the East Side Gallery will be removed to allow for development. As you can see behind me, there's a gap in the wall there which was cut down to allow for the expansion of the Mercedes-Benz arena. There's also been luxury apartments built on the other side of the wall, which was known as the Death Strip, because it was where people tried to escape East Berlin over the wall across the river into West Berlin. But now, after years of campaigning, this part of Berlin and indeed Cold War history is going to be properly memorialized, and as many Berliners have been demanding for years, given the respect that it deserves.
And Jessica, Berlin's had trouble in the past with preserving historical landmarks. Why is that?
Well, for many years, the Berlin Senate has really been struggling on how to deal with Berlin's changing landscape and which parts of Berlin's 20th century history, especially dark chapters such as the Nazi era, to maintain, and such as Nazi architecture, or which parts should be destroyed. And especially when it comes to the Cold War history, it becomes incredibly complicated and contentious. So we've seen this really step up in recent years as this has become an incredibly attractive city for property investors. It was only earlier this week that the Green Party tried to stop plans by the Berlin mayor to allow a Hard Rock cafe to be built on part of Checkpoint Charlie, which of course is a really historically important checkpoint between East and West Berlin. So the debate really still continues in Berlin over how to maintain parts of its history.